the battle's won. Heroes unite in the darkest night, standing tall in the face of fright. Raise your hand for the world to see. We are the justice eternally. From the shadows to the sky, winged and cloaked we soar so high. Every challenge we defy, champion hearts forever strong. Meet humans, mutants true, crusaders all come through. When the signal lights the blue, we'll answer when we hear the call. Gathered forces side by side, no more secrets none can hide. With our powers all amplified, bound by justice unified. Heroes unite in the darkest night, standing tall in the face of fright. Raise your hand for the world to see. We are the justice eternally. From the shadows to the sky, winged and cloaked we soar so high. Every challenge we defy, champion hearts forever strong. Set the lead from the shadows to the sky, winged and cloaked we soar so high. Every challenge we defy, champion hearts forever strong. Me and heroes unite in the darkest night, standing tall in the face of fright. Raise your hand for the world to see. While the justice eternally. From the shadows to the sky, winged and cloaked we soar so high. Every challenge we defy, champion hearts forever strong. May all humans, mutants true, Cape Crusaders all come through. When the signal lights the blue, we'll answer when we hear the call. Gathered forces side by side, no more secrets none can hide. With our powers all amplified, bound by justice unified. A justice unified. Oh, justice unified.
Hello everybody and welcome to the first stream of the Sigmaverse. Who doesn't like superheroes, right? And and as you guys could probably tell, I'm using mutants and masterminds as the previous. I was actually thinking about doing for a minute doing heroic, but I'm still learning the system a little bit, and you know, honestly, I have to get with Bear about that, just because, hang on one second, I am expecting a package as well during this time, which could not be any worse of a time. Alright, give me 1 second, everybody. I did get a package that just arrived. We'll be right back. We're going to put on some music here. All right, I'm back. All right. Yes, that song was called "Rise of Heroes." Um, it was either "Rise of Heroes" or "Heroes United," and that's what I called it when, or that's what the name generator kind of spit out. That was made by AI Suno, or Suno Artificial Intelligence. I'm using AI music, but that's because I don't have the money to pay for a real band to sing for me. So there you guys go. Doing the best I can. You know, tabletop games alone is an expensive hobby. So, you got to make do with what you got and what you got used to you. So, there we go. All right. Currently pulling up some books now. All right. Amen to that. Okay, so let's see here. Give me. I don't need that many books pulled up. I just need the main Mutants Mastermind book and the Game Master's Guide. Okay, so we don't know how much. Oh, and I forgot my dice. Ooh. Can't play a game without dice, even if it's a solo play. And in this game, we use D20s. Naturally. I'm going to get out a couple D20s here. At least going to need two. Alright, give me 1 second. Should get us all back on track. A little bit off track today. It's been kind of like an off day. I've been kind of just like chilling with Mrs. Tabletop. I did do an early morning stream because I didn't want to sleep, but then I took one or two cat naps throughout the day. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Alright, so we are going to begin the adventure. You guys can see a character up here with a power level of 3. His name is Carl Coleman. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a rundown on Carl. So Carl Coleman is actually a government agent that actually works for the United States government. He's currently right now overseeing special projects in the Antarctic. About in the year 2020, there was a heat signature. One of our government satellites picked up a heat signature actually emanating from the Antarctic. The heat signature was very, very faint, and they didn't know what it was, so they sent an expedition team to actually discover it. Many other corporations wanted in on this, but the government picked it up first, so they said, no, we need to know what this is before we allow anyone, because they didn't know. They were coming up with reasons. Some of the reasons that they came up with is it could be nothing, could just be a fluke, could just be basically a volcano, something that could cause a disaster. So they didn't want no one getting hurt, and basically insurance companies, are literally paying through the nail for lost people on an expedition. And this occurred in the year 2020. Now, in the Sigmaverse, COVID never happened. So we don't have things from modern day played into this, other than maybe technology. COVID was never a thing. The world went on normally, as it normal would. And superheroes are kind of a thing, but very, very seldom, and depending on which areas they are in. Most superheroes at this point in time exist in high crime areas where they are defending the weak and, doing justice to those that are hurting people, where the police and the law cannot. So we have vigilantes. So, anyway, so in 2020 they picked up a heat signature. Carl Coleman was actually, he's one of the lead agents of Special Operations, so he was actually dispatched with the team to the Antarctic in the year 2020. Once they arrived to the supposed location where the heat signature was, they found nothing but ice. Like a whole land of nothing but ice all the way around. There's no town, no town. Like, would there be towns in the Antarctic? There would be fishing locations in the Antarctic where whalers would go and get whales and basically start getting the whale meat and, stuff to make oil. Whale oil and fish oil and stuff. There doesn't seem to be anything like that at this location. So they began to set up camp. Upon setting up, they set up a outpost. And once the outpost was fully set up, the government issued drills. And they began drilling and mining into the ice. After probably a few long months, they actually managed to reach down to a bottom of the cavern that was actually an entire cavern. And when they lit it up, they found a structure of unknown origin. They began looking at the outer hull of this unknown origin, and it actually turns out to be some form of metallic alloy that is not on the periodic table. They actually found a way in by forcing the doors open, which was not very easy, but they actually managed to find out that the doors could be subject to a form of magnetic energy. So they've been creating magnetic ray beam tools to actually signal the doors to open. So as soon as they gain entry, they begin exploring several locations of what this seems to be is some form of vessel or space-worthy vessel that is actually not native to Earth. They ended up finding a single pod that was still powered, which was actually reason why the heat signature went off. After so long, the engines and the power core, the power plant of this area actually began powering up to keep the specimen alive. They found a young man, roughly of the age of 18 human years, frozen in a cryogenic pod. And they've discovered true cryogenesis. Well, upon study, they've been doing whatever they can, but unfortunately, due to the metallic alloy and whatnot, certain things like certain lasers, there's certain tools that they could have created that could have basically given x-rays of the interior and stuff like that, proved to actually be very much useless. So they spent years studying this vessel and studying the specimen, and they have not actually to this day let them out of cryostasis. The planet Earth has not achieved true cryostasis before. They've claimed they have, but they have not. But it is one of the top priorities that scientists, that it's been eluding scientists, so they've been studying the cryopod for the last 5 years. The current day is the year 2025. 5 years after roughly about 4 or 5 years after discovery of this vessel and of the specimen inside, they found almost no relative news of where this person could be, other than he is not from Earth, and that the vessel has been crash landed on Earth for nearly 2,000 years. They are reckoning that it's probably been there since some scientists say it's probably been there since the dawn of since the day that Jesus was born and hung on the cross. From religious point of views, those who are atheists of the scientist groups actually says that we have no no exact time frame of when all that happened, so they're not sure exactly when this pod crash landed here, but this does change human events of human history, proving that there is life outside in the universe, of which has not been discovered at this time yet. Although they do have a miraculous space station that they've actually achieved, and they are actually on the verge of making a vessel that is capable of light speed. So now that they reckon he is roughly either 18 years old or 2018 years old. However, he is a well-preserved specimen, and they've been actually doing what they can to make studies. Carl Coleman has been reporting everything to his supervisors, letting them know that they have not found anything as of yet. However, after 5 years of taxpayers' dollars and spending massive amounts of monies, they are reckoning that they begin further awakening the specimen to see if the specimen is alive, and if not, see what they can do to extract DNA cells from the specimen, and moving the DNA cells to a lab in Crescent City, California. We begin early morning in the Antarctic, as Carl is very reluctant to do this because they are not sure what the specimen will provide to the world, if it will be good or bad, if it will be greed or power. Very much concerned. Carl does actually... Hang on one second, I gotta... Okay. Carl does actually ponder a lot of points regarding this. Crescent City is actually a place that's riddled with crime. It's one of the highest crime-rated cities ever, but it's not a complete crap hole. It actually is a very well place. It's just, once again, imagine a place that is very beautiful but has a lot of crime due to the fact that there is either you can support yourself or you can't. Kind of one of those areas. Really no middle ground there. You can either get a good job and support yourself, or you can get a crappy job or no job and be homeless. But Carl, Mr. Carl Coleman, is, not sure what to do. Carl Coleman has brown hair, brown eyes, roughly about 200 pounds, 6'1", and he's been about 40 years old. He's actually spent several years in the service, and he even has much of the background, which he remains secret. He began his career in the U.S. military, where he was actually eventually recruited into the Secret Service of the United States in the Sigmaverse. Much of the universe is still unknown, but Carl does believe, now after seeing everything he's seen, he does believe truly that there is life outside of the planet and possibly further out. We begin as he wakes up next to his bedside. He sits at his desk pondering his orders. He is requested to gather information from the scientists immediately regarding the specimen that is currently sitting in cryostasis. He does not know what to do, but he is going to begin his immediate questioning for the day. He actually heads down to the cryogenic chambers, where there's the ability to have 200 people in cryostasis. Only one is working, and 199 are completely empty and shut down for reasons. They believe the ship is doing it on its own, that the ship has a form of artificial intelligence or a set of instructions and programming instructions that will actually conserve power as long as possible. Carl makes his way to one of the lead scientists. His name is, we're going to just give him a name because he's not going to be anyone important. His name is going to be, we're going to call him, jeez, I need a name. I rolled to attack. Yeah, okay, Jack. Okay. We're going to call him, this lead scientist. We're going to call him Selman. There we go. We'll call him Selman. So he comes down to the lead scientist of Selman, and he begins questioning. Selman, what do you have for me today? Well, Mr. Coleman, or Agent Coleman, I should say, I understand that everyone is getting to Buford Jones. That's going to be the name of the next NPC. That's not important. Well, Agent Coleman, we are currently just got some objections to, well, cracking this case open. We've been here 5 minutes, Selman, or 5 minutes. Been here 5 years, Selman, and my supervisors are tired of using taxpayers' dollars to fund this expedition. We've actually found this place 6 to 8 months after we arrived here, and so you've had exactly 4 years and 4 months to come up with something, and we've come up with nothing other than tools to open doors. What can you tell me about the specimen inside? He's like, haha. Okay, well, sir, I'm going to be honest with you. We actually was able to take a sample of the ice that was close to his skin cells. Okay. Well, we're thinking that if before he was cryogenically frozen, maybe he sweated a little bit on his planet. We're not sure. But this is what we found. And suddenly one of the homemade like holographic, like they have this like little hollow pad that actually shoots lasers in multiple directions to create a holographic image, and it pulls up a holographic image of DNA strands. He's like, this is the specimen's DNA. This is ours. He's got exactly 26 different codes than we do in our DNA strands of any specimen that we've ever seen. This is completely alien to us. Although he does look humanoid, we can actually match where our DNA is somewhat similar to his. Does this prove that he might have been from Earth at one point in time, or that we are spawned from a different alien civilization? If so, this would actually disprove complete religion. However, there is no proof of that so far. We just know he has 26 more DNA strands than we're used to seeing in any species. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, sir, he's not normal. We don't think this is the purest form of DNA possibly among his people. We do know in some cases when it comes to metahumans, or as we like to call them, mutants, that there is a gene in us that allows a mutation. One gene, one little chromosome that could be off. That causes the mutation, and then therefore we have metahumans. Sometimes that gene can be forcibly activated through stress. Sometimes we could be infected with something. We've seen all kinds of things over the last few years. One thing's for sure, this guy is not infected with anything. Anything that he has is a natural power. Now, I'm not saying that natural, that superpowers is not natural to human evolution, which could be the next step for us, but it is not really. I guess I'm not sure. Releasing him could be very bad. He could be a warlord, or he could be a diplomat, but he's roughly resembles an 18-year-old boy. So I'm not sure what kind of life he has on his planet, but his planet was able to do space travel, and from what we are, from as you know, we're just now achieving, NASA's just now achieving faster than light travel. Or at least it would seem like we would have that here pretty soon. But they've already achieved it. They're ahead of us by at least 1,000 years. So I think waking the specimen would be a bad idea. You think, Salesman? Look, my superiors don't give a shit what you think. They ask for results. And we've been down here for 5 years. I'd like to go home to my family, who I do have. You know, I have a mother and a father, and I have nieces and nephews, and I have brothers and sisters. I may not be married, but I do have other relatives I'd like to see, and I have not seen in 5 years and can barely talk to while in this secret cave that somehow has been here for 2,000 years. Now, all we know is this is a vessel from another planet. We don't know how far, where it's coming from, the point of origin, nor how the hell did it get here, and why the hell it's frozen in the Antarctic. All we know is it's housing the specimen. We don't know who he is, what he is. We just know he looks human, roughly 18 years of age by our standards, but Earth standards may not be the standards of his home planet. Now, with that said, salesman, I am going to order you to open that container. And if you do not, well, let's just say my superiors are not as understanding as I am. You guys have got 24 hours to figure something out and start a plan of seeing if we can wake this guy up and see who he is. And that way we can move him, you know, back to the States for further study. So, salesman began looking at Coleman, and Coleman turns around. As Coleman turns around and walks out, salesman says, regardless if he's alien or not, that's funny, Jack. Funny coincidence, but I just rolled up an 18-year-old mutant in Heroes Unlimited last night. Nice. I've not played that one. So, salesman turns around and says, Agent Coleman, regardless of his origins, he still appears human. And regardless how alien and different he is to us, we still have a right to protecting human rights. And as long as he's on our planet, if he seeks asylum, we have to grant him basic human rights and integration into our society. Coleman began looking back. He says, yes, I know a basic humanities course that anybody who's different, we will integrate in human society. But, you know, and not hold a human being against their will. But, however, right now, he's frozen, and we don't know who he is. So, like, why don't you crack that open and stop talking to me about basic human rights? As Coleman exits, the scientists begin moving immediately, putting all their tools and weapons into cracking the case. Unfortunately, they've been hearing voices throughout the intercom. It's the same voice over and over again. They are assuming that it is a computer. As they begin cracking open the cryogenic stasis, they keep hearing something in a language that they cannot decode. However, they do have many linguists that have been trying to decode it and trying to search a database for the language to see what the voice is saying. Upon cracking and begin heating the cryogenic stasis pod, the pod began leaking some form of residue fluid to the bottom. Alarms throughout the entire vessel begin going off. And some voice goes on in a language that nobody can understand. Coleman begins getting on the radio. Salesman, what's going on? Salesman. All right. I need agents, and I need oh god, security team straight down to the cryogenic stasis rooms immediately. Coleman began meeting everyone down there. There is many soldiers and a couple agents there outside the door. He looks at one of the agents and says, "Why is this door not open yet?" "Well, we weren't sure what was inside, sir." "Well, it doesn't matter. We know what's inside. Just begin cracking it." And Coleman immediately draws his gun. He carries a standard issue Glock 9mm. They begin using one. They say crack the door immediately. All right. They begin using one of their tools and move a lasering tool in position to a keypad. The key once they shoot the laser for 3 seconds and turns it off, the door opens, and inside the room they notice the scientists are moving very carefully and trying to chip away at the ice. Salesman, what's going on? Sorry, we must have lost all communications. Our batteries are current dead on all of our radios. So we managed to get the cryogenic stasis tube open, and it's leaking, well, ice residue, but we are not for sure what all elements is in there. Our scanners are picking up some elements that this ice might be made of that's not on the periodic table as well, so we don't know if it's toxic to any of us. That's why the room has been sealed. We think the computer is doing it, but we can't decode the language. We've been here for 5 years and we don't have anything. We don't have a basic syntax library, Coleman. What do you want the linguists to do? They need information to work from, like the alphabet. What is the 26 letters of this language? How do you pronounce it? Do they have vocal cords? Jesus, Coleman, I mean, for a guy who works for the government, you sure in the hell don't know anything about what would happen if we met extraterrestrial life. They begin removing the door and dismantling the pod to the best of their knowledge by chipping away and breaking into parts. As they begin doing that, they spend several hours removing and chipping away at ice, but being careful not to harm the specimen. They begin actually using a small, low-grade laser that would actually melt the ice around, but also heating up the body very slowly. As soon as they were able to get parts of the body free, they were able to move the specimen to a gurney. This took roughly about 2 days. Is he alive? I'm not sure, Coleman. The pod, ever since we cracked it open and began dismantling it, life support's been off. For all we know, he's probably drowned in the ice. Water could have gotten in his lungs, if the water is even water. We're going to move him to one of our infirmaries that we made on the ship, and hopefully he revives. But right now, we don't have any way of reviving or reanimating him without him just doing it naturally. We might as well have just killed him. After 3 days of his body being in a semi-warm environment and the ice melting around, they were able to find out that his body was naturally warm to the touch. They began trying to extract skin cells and blood from him. However, they noticed one small problem. They began putting the needle to his arm, and the needles broke. They broke every needle that went up against him. They tried to take a pair of tweezers and tried to scrape skin cells, but everything that's been very low on, like, not really meant to hurt someone has actually been coming out broken. After 3 days, Coleman needed to update his supervisors, and he comes down to the infirmary to see the specimen for himself. What do we got? Well, Coleman, you're not going to like this, but we've got nothing. We know this. His skin is tougher than humans. It broke every needle we have, including the butterfly needles. The butterfly needles. Yes, the needles with the larger spread. We can't pierce his skin. Unless maybe we try to shoot him, but that may cause a lot of issues. The other problem is we've tried to get his BP and whatnot. We can't hear anything, probably to do with his resistant skin. And we have no tools that will give us an x-ray of what this guy looks like underneath. So we don't know how many organs he has, if he has any at all. You're kidding. So, like, what is he just invulnerable to harm? I don't think it's that, because even the x-rays aren't coming up with anything conclusive. It just keeps showing his full outer exterior. It's just possible he's just resistant to our technology because maybe they used a further more advanced form of x-ray machines. Or maybe they never got hurt. Who the hell knows? Well, how much longer until he wakes up? He's like, well, I don't know, but he's been... His name is not Cal. No, it is not. Anyway, give me 1 second, everybody. All right, so what, so exactly, do we know anything about him? He's like, has he been showing any signs of life? He's like, well, he does have twitching every now and then, but nothing too major. Could just be the body. Just keep me posted. And if he wakes up, let me know. Carl returns to his chambers, and he begins using the network and satellite feeds to connect to his superiors. Four people showed up. Three males, one female voice. Carl, tell us you have something. Well, we extracted the specimen a few days ago from the ice. He's been spending the last couple days basically on thawing. According to the scientists, they are not able to extract blood, skin cells, or anything. They are not even able to give x-rays. We're not sure how advanced his people were, but from our guess, they were space-worthy. They might have been part of a galactic community. We don't know if this ship was sent here on a invasion course or what, but for one person to only be on it, we're not sure what happened to his planet. With that noted, do we know if he has any superpowers other than the fact that we can't pierce his skin? Not to our knowledge. He's not quite awake yet, sir. But I've got salesmen to keep me posted on this matter. So, and we're gonna take a quick pause here. Alright, and we are back. Alright, so let's continue. In just a few minutes because my whole space is being currently invaded. Sorry, everybody. As you guys know, I actually have kids. So they all wanted to come say hi to me. Alright, anyway. So, about another 40 hours go by after Carl sends in his report, and the salesman is currently down with several scientists monitoring the vitals. They are, of course, taking shifts at this time because they have not been staying up all night monitoring him. Of course, like I said, they have not been able to get any vitals, so they are doing the best they can with what they have, and they're not sure what to really do if anything was to happen. And suddenly they hear a moan or a sound coming like a breath of air coming out of the mouth of the specimen. One of the scientists says, "Get Salzman and Agent Coleman down here immediately, now." And they immediately wake Salzman and Coleman, and they come down to realize that the specimen has completely woken up. And Salzman is, of course, smiling and grinning like a jackass, while Coleman says, "Hang on, Salzman. My name is... I'm Special Agent Carl Coleman of the planet Earth. Do you know where you are?" "Yes." "You speak English?" "No. No, I don't speak English. Not naturally. But we can understand you." "Correct. So how is that possible?" I was in a cryogenic stasis pod. You guys must have somehow freed me from it, correct?" "Well, yes, we broke into it, but our scientists didn't know how to use your technology. We still haven't even found ways into the computer database." "Huh. Okay. So your name is Special Agent Carl Coleman?" "Yes." "Okay. And you broke into my ship and broke into my cryogenic stasis pod." "Well, that would be the way of it. But you still haven't answered my question. How do you know our language?" "I know all the languages of Earth, or at least all the languages that have been here over time. My ship must have been monitoring all your radio frequencies and whatnot, and actually implanted information into my brain." "So you're part cybernetic?" "No, incorrect. The fluid is based off of a type of nanotechnology." "Nanotechnology?" "Yes, that's probably why. We probably have some similar cryogenic fluid that you use here." "Agent Coleman, how do you freeze your people for space travel?" We don't, actually." "How long have I been here?" "From my understanding, humans were a young species, but to me, you guys don't look anything like my orientation. In my orientation, you guys wore fur, I think, or gowns." "Well, you've been here for about 2,000 years. That would explain why I know English. I believe the language I was originally studying was Hebrew, if I remember correctly. And you're Egyptian from, what seems to be a long time ago. So, if your ship's been monitoring, how does it transmit into the ice? How did it transmit our language?" Again, nanobots. The nanobots aren't really frozen. It's like cracks in the ice. It's kind of hard to explain. It's very advanced technology. And I'm not sure how I feel about telling you about that. And the specimen begins standing up immediately, revealing that he's currently wearing nothing. Is everything okay?" "What's wrong?" Well, sir, you don't have any clothes on." "Oh, so is this, so clothes, like garments, stuff you cover yourself with, right? You guys are natural to that?" I thought, from what I remember, you guys barely wore anything back in my studies, but maybe I'm out of time." "Yes." "Do you have a name?" "I do have a name. I doubt you'll be able to pronounce it, but you can give it a try." My name is Grixlaw of the House of Law. Grixlaw. So, is that like a first and last name? Well, I mean, the House of Law is our title. I wouldn't call it a last name. Do you have multiple names on this planet? Yeah, actually, we do. Many multiple names. So we each family carries about 3 names. Interesting. 3 names. Okay. So, Grixlaw. You can call me Jack. I think Jack was a name that I heard many times. I think my ship picked up something. Let's see. Can you help us access parts of your ship? I mean, maybe. I don't know if I have security clearance. This is a scout vessel. I was actually on a routine mission. Looks like I'm the only one that didn't leave. I'm just a bit confused because I can't remember how I ended up in there. I do remember there was an orientation where I was coming to study Earth. And I'm not sure what happened. If I may, Salzman interrupts and he comes in. He says, your cryogenic stasis, could it have, with us maybe breaking into it, could we have caused you a form of amnesia or brain damage? Well, cryogenic stasis on my world is not for thousands of year use. We have fast and light travel drives, but prolonged exposure probably could cause a form of amnesia. I'm not a scientist. I literally just graduated the university of my planet, which you guys have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. College, right? Like a form of, when you reach a certain age, you go off to college. It's like, well, college is, yes, we call it the university. It's a science committee. I wanted to be what my world called a scientist, but I didn't have the smarts for it, and originally I don't think, but they gave me a trial run, and I was supposed to, well, I was supposed to come here, and this was supposed to be my trial run. Has there been anyone else that you freed from cryogenic stasis? Coleman steps in and says, actually, you're the only one. The ship's been actually powering you for 2,000 years. We've actually been here for like the last 5 Earth years, as we would like to call it for you, because you're not from Earth, and we don't know how many years travel in your world. But the last 5 Earth years, we've been studying you, and you've been asleep. But you're the only one here. We've scoured every inch of the ship, every room. Fascinating. Very fascinating. What is? Well, you can wake me up the correct way, which could have led to a form of amnesia, but you can open my doors. You can't access my ship or understand my language, but I know yours. Kind of makes my species more advanced. Which brings us to my next point. How do we know that you're not here as an invasion force? Really? How does one man or one alien, such as myself, invade an entire planet? Well, your skin is very resistant to needles. We weren't able to take any of your blood or any of your skin cells or scrape off anything off your body. And you did this while I was asleep? We tried to, according to my scientists. Agent Coleman, are you insisting that my skin is stronger and therefore you fear what you do not know? No, I'm not insisting it. I'm just relaying a report that I saw. Like, oh, so you're going to share that part with me. How do I know you're sharing everything with me? Coleman and Grixla, or as he likes to be called, his Earth name, Jack, as that he feels that they cannot pronounce his true name in his native tongue, begin looking at each other and staring at each other very, very suspiciously. My people have, from our perspective, 26 different DNA strands from you. Not only do we have 26 different DNA strands, we have 26 additional strands, which actually leads us to have special abilities on your planet. When mixed with the oxygen from your atmosphere, and potentially, maybe, from it, we are able to actually have certain abilities. I think that is one of them. Coleman begins suspiciously looking at Jack and goes, bullshit. You're part of the science committee, right? You were given an orientation. I'm also suffering from amnesia. Likely story. Likely story. Jack or Grixla or whatever the hell you like to be called. See, here's the thing. You're telling us you're on a scout ship to scout for scientific discovery. You're sitting here confused. You have access to an entire warship that, you're right about one thing, we can only open doors, and yet we can't pierce your skin with any known needles or tools or instruments of ours. You're going to sit here and tell me you never knew that ability was a possibility when coming here? Do you expect me to believe that you didn't know about your abilities upon arrival, and now you're going to play the amnesia card as often as you can? I've been around a long time, Jack, or Grixla, or whatever you want to be called. But it seems like you said you were from the House of Law, which means you use some form of feudal system. Most systems like that tend to have a form of government and a set of orders, but I don't know of any scientific committee. Well, Agent Coleman, if you think that your people are so damn smart, why couldn't you wake me up normally then? You're here suspecting me of treachery when how many of you are in this room right now and just one of me? You think I have the strength to take you on? I'm not going to resist anything. I just woke up and you're telling me I've been crash landed here for 2,000 years. How long does your people live for? Not that long. I mean, we may have another 100 years on you, but 2,000? Everybody I know is gone and dead. At least, I would imagine they would be. Look, I'm not going to give you guys my skin cells for study. I'm not going to give you guys this technology of the ship willingly. So, we can do a couple things. I can meet with the diplomats of your government, and we can discuss a form of peace here, as that you guys interrupted my slumber. Probably saved my life, which I am eternally grateful for. Because cryogenic stasis is not for that long term. Which means probably in a few hundred years or less, I could have been brain dead. So, what do you want to do? At this point, they begin locking Grixla, or Jack, as that they can't decide what to call him, into the infirmary, where they begin closely watching him through what they've been able to install their own computer monitors. They begin watching and recording to see if he does anything funny with the ship. Salesman and Coleman begin having a meeting in his office. Salesman, I don't know what the fuck we're dealing with, but we need to actually understand quickly, because if you can't pierce the skin, what makes us think a gun can pierce the skin? What happens if he decides to attack us all right now? Well, Special Agent Coleman, I'm going to be honest with you. There is 100 of us here. Hell, there's 100. There's 500 of us here. We set up an entire camp. You think one guy, and even if we don't know if a gun wouldn't pierce his skin, we didn't try to shoot the guy. I mean, at that point, that might have been an act of war against his plan, and quite frankly, with the advancement of this ship, we wouldn't stand a chance. And it doesn't take a scientist to tell you that. You can look around, like, these locks would be something of future advancements. All touchscreen. We have touchscreen stuff, but nothing this advanced. This is at least 1,000 years ahead of us. We don't have a planetary defense. We're not united under a unity of planetary defense. They could be. They could have many different planets. They could have colonized planets by now. And that's a scout ship, which means they make them. They make these. This is regular. This is like having a naval ship that was around for 10 years. And there's been no degradation in system. And if he's been asleep for 2,000 of our years, that means they're 1,000 more years advanced from when we were. I mean, what do you think we, can do with him? I mean, Coleman, you're not just a mindless agent. You actually know some things. Let me actually see if he does. Let me see. What would his intellect be? His intellect is actually a 4. Which, for a lot of things, he actually knows that's actually pretty smart. So, in Mutants and Mastermind, a rating of 4 naturally puts him... Let me see if I can find a rating of 4 for you. Oh, I'm in the wrong book. Because anything over a certain amount is considered super, super awesome. Okay, so a rating of 4 is a highly gifted individual. That's an ability benchmark. So he's kind of like he's got a master's he's got a master's degree, and he's probably been the top of his class. So yeah, that's highly likely. So, and I did roll, and I actually beat something that would be similar to that. So, yep. You're right. I actually know a few things a lot about human technology and engineering and stuff like that. I didn't specialize in it, but I do know basic physics. And this ship is beyond even my understanding. Coleman, common sense would say that if this individual could break out, why doesn't he? I don't know, maybe he's got a sentimental attachment to this. Still like to know more about his language, and we don't know nothing. He said that he learned our language from the ship monitoring our planet and transmitted it through nanotechnology within the ice. It was like the nanites were inside the ice but not frozen. Is there any way we can extract those nanites? Actually, I got a team actually working on that right now. Really? Yes, as soon as we heard about it and before we were coming here, I actually sent someone to collect samples to see if we can actually microscopically put it under the microscope and see if that's possible. If that is possible, that'd be one way that we could do it. However, my guess is we're not seeing any visible cybernetic enhancements for his species, so assuming that that is true, that he is 100% all skin and flesh and bone, the nanites probably would go inside through the mouth and then be excreted through bodily fluids. So we might be able to get a urine test. That's a good idea. Good idea, Sussman. Meanwhile, I'm going to call the superiors and see if we want to move him to Crescent City or not. There is a highly safe and very heavily armed science room there, so give this a try. All right, let's begin right now, so that way I can see what the next steps are going to be. Coleman immediately sends an email straight to his superiors. They contacted him and let him know that they want to begin moving the specimen to Crescent City and away from the Antarctic, as there's really not much else to explore. Salesman and his team did actually discover the nanites and the nanotechnology, and they think it could be reverse engineered if they had the proper equipment. So they are also going to be moving samples and anything they can collect from the fluid. One of the scientists has come in and says, "Hello, my name is Kimberly, and I will be your evaluator today." Kimberly, you don't have to address me by my actual name. You can address me by an Earth Standard name, Jack. All right, Jack. Can you tell me the name of your planet? As human language would say, is I'm not at liberty to discuss that with you. Why is that? Well, because you could discover secrets, military secrets, anything from me. You can extract scientific secrets, scientific advancements. Well, how do I know you haven't done that? You've been here for 5 years. 5 Earth Standard years, which for you is a long time. Half a decade, I imagine, by any unit of measurement. Yes. How long have you been here, Kimberly? Since we laid the groundwork for our base here. Okay. So, unfortunately, we're not going to do that. Well, how does your species dispose of waste? Waste, such as, I think the human term would be feces or poop or pee, I imagine? Yes. I think very similar to you. I mean, you can look at me. I'm virtually human. I have all the looks of a human. Do you have an alternate form? Our scientist here on planet Earth has actually theorized that you have to be from Earth at some point. That's what you're looking for, isn't it, Kimberly? May I call you Kim for short? You can. So, Kim, you think that I'm the progenitor of your species, or that you're the progenitor of me, but we both know my DNA is more pure than yours. So, you think I have the secrets of the universe, that I created planet Earth, and not your, what did you call them, gods? Gods. I think I remember something in my orientation class about the gods you worship, like the Egyptians worshiping the god of Osiris and Anubis. I believe most of the planet, or some, believe in a God with no name, but his son was Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, as you believe. Actually, I'm an atheist. I believe in scientific facts and what I can see and touch and what can be proven by science. Ah, right. Do you have any deities on your planet? Kim, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I've been kind of just lying to you guys. I know nothing of my homeworld. I don't even know what species I am. I know my name. It's possible, and if you want to run some tests, do you have tests to run brain scans or anything on me? Kim looks at him and says, well, no, all of our instruments that we use for brain scans, such as MRIs and whatnot, have been actually proven useless with you. Even x-rays, we have portable x-ray machines. We even ported in a small MRI unit, which wasn't very advanced as what our hospitals have. Something portable, and we couldn't detect anything from you. It was like you weren't there. But we noticed that there was, it did say that it was scanning something, but we couldn't penetrate through your skin. So you don't know if I've suffered prolonged brain damage from my cryogenic stasis sleep, which I have told your people many times, 2,000 years is prolonged. She's like, and that is one thing I wanted to talk to you about. How do you know certain things, but yet you can't remember others? Do you remember what you did at the age of 5? Oh, no. How could I? There you go. Why does humans don't remember anything at a certain age? Well, let me explain that. Probably same with my people. Before a certain age, our long-term memory is still kind of sort of growing and developing, and our personalities are developing. And then when we go from short-term, so anything stored in short-term memory during the first few years of our development and growth kind of doesn't really get stored. It's kind of forgotten. And then once our brains mature enough to a certain degree, it begins activating long-term memory. And then taking the short-term, adding to long-term memory, and thus starts our great education and great circle of life feeling. So maybe most of my long-term memory has been damaged, and none of you guys have offered me any form of medical treatment. So I say to you, Kim, if you have nothing else to do besides take samples from me, I will happily surrender the samples, and you can take them to your boss and let them know that I am requesting asylum on your planet. If I remember correctly, the nanites did tell me, or implant in my brain, that you guys do exercise basic rights for humans. And even though I'm an alien on your planet, I am still somewhat humanoid. And I'm asking for you to treat me like a human being. If there's nothing else, Kim, you are dismissed. I wouldn't want to make me angry now. Feeling uneasy by what Jack said, Kim, actually, the scientist, excused herself and began, as he's been giving her the samples that she's requesting on a plate and in privacy. They begin taking it to a lab where they've been studying it, also reporting what was stated and said. Salesman and Coleman says, see, right there, that's it. Salesman, that's it right there. He dismissed one of your scientists. He is alone in a room. That means nothing, Coleman. My God, he's just... I'm telling you, we don't need to drop our guard. I think he's stronger than he's letting on. I think, Coleman, that you are paranoid as hell. Probably. But it's just how he spoke to her. Maybe on their planet, men are the leaders. I mean, what do you want me to say, Coleman? Well, he is asking for basic human rights, and I did say I'd give it to him if he asked. We did discuss that prior before him waking up. That's my next question. Those nanites put it in his head, which means the ship's been monitoring everything we've been saying. Yes. How do we know that they're still not relaying to him? Actually, Coleman, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. It turns out the nanite technology that was giving him his education while cryogenically frozen only existed in cryostasis. Carl actually sat back in his seat. Is like, okay, let's take a step back for a minute and explain. Run that by me again. What does that mean exactly, Salzman? He says, okay, so here's a cryopod. Here's his body. And supposedly inside the ice was nanites, right? The nanites existed inside the fluid. So the whole ship begins monitoring the whole planet, gathering information, transmits whatever information it can inside the cryopod, inside the nanites. Nanites go in, implant the information in his brain, leave out through a disposal waste. Now, meanwhile, while cryogenically frozen, these nanites have actually been able to recreate themselves inside the cryopod. There was actually some parts in there that I think was recreating more. And as information was being collected, they were creating nanites, storing information in those nanites, and that's basically what happened. It might have been the abrupt awakening of his cryosleep might have caused the brain damage because the nanites were probably seeing a force and went in defensive mode, which means they probably began killing off parts of his brain. Wow, okay. All right, so we are responsible for his amnesia. Oh, 100, honestly, it's only in theory, but 110%, we're probably right about that. I mean, it was probably a defensive mechanism. We don't know what they were programmed to do. However, we have actually been taking samples from him and the fluids. It's actually in his bodily fluids. Not all his bodily fluids, but at least the main one. So they did have a way of dispersing it. The nanites also acted as a medical protocol. That's why his body never aged. Plus, it was frozen. But to keep degradation down, they knew basic healing techniques to keep it from deteriorating. Coleman, this guy is literally over 2,000 years old. No matter what planet he's from, his planet's probably older than that now. At this point, he has no memory of who he is, and quite frankly, he's not proven to be a threat. Now, I understand your reluctancy in believing in what we're saying about him not being a threat, but he is asking for asylum, which means he wants safety. We have to provide safe passage for him. My superiors feel different, Salzman. They don't understand how someone of this great importance or pure DNA to our own, or advanced DNA to our own, could easily be hurt like that when our own tools can't even pierce his skin. If we take him to a high populated area where he can hurt people and actually invade our planet, we're not sure if we're going to be able to stop him. Coleman, we can run a test. We can probably shoot him in the leg and hopes his body heals itself. What if it doesn't heal itself? Then we just... So when he asks for asylum and we shoot him in the leg to prove that he's not a threat, then we just open up an act of war against not just him, but his entire planet if they find out that we hurt him or dissected him or mutilated him in any way, shape, or form. which then when we ask for a diplomatic reasoning, they don't have any reason to do that other than vaporizing our planet. And with whatever metahumans we have available that will be willing to fight for us and save our planet, may not even stand a chance. Salesman, I will say this, that I definitely have the thought of shooting him in the leg. Definitely has come across my mind, but I think we're just going to offer him the asylum, and I'm going to push for the case with my superiors, and we're going to move back to the States. Just take whatever samples we have and see if we can reverse engineer any of them. And whatever information we have here, reverse engineer for the better of our planet. And that's all, it's basically what my job was. What I'm going to tell you you're going to do, which means I have a contract for you. This actually opens you up to, well, the rest of your life. Salesman reviews the contract and basically states that he is going to be tasked with reverse engineering of any technology found, and all patents would go to him as well as the government, and he will be paid under, basically under the, not really under the table per se, but under the ruse, and he'd be taken care of for the rest of his life. Like, his name will not get attached to anything unless it was historical significance and released to the public, but all the major military stuff and whatnot he will be responsible for. They will pay him for, but he will keep his name off of it. And of course, there is some fine print that he did recognize, and he's like, so I'm going to be a millionaire for the rest of my life. Lucky you, I can't even retire yet. They're not letting me or offering me a contract like that. Salesman begins signing. He says, whether the rest of my team, oh, they're going to be terminated. This is only for you. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can offer the same to a couple of your members, but not everybody. Not the 500 people here. Some people are going to be signing non-disclosure agreements, and we're going to be terminating them and sending them back to the respectable states and, countries that they live at. But this deal is 100% yours. Agent Coleman, it's been a pleasure dealing with you. I knew you'd probably think that after I show you that. Professor Salzman, one other thing before you leave. You're not to say a word to anybody about this. Absolutely. I'll be out of the media. About 2 or 3 weeks go by. They begin packing. During the last 2 or 3 weeks, they begin packing up and moving strictly back to the States, where military planes have come and been collecting personnel, sending them to different various airports. The last set of the personnel was the ones that was moving Jack, basically from the Antarctic to Crescent City, California. Jack found himself on the plane and was seeing the yellow sun of planet Earth for the first time. Coleman looks at Jack and says, are you fascinated by the sun and our primitive ways? Well, I'm pretty sure that these are not necessary, said Jack as he finds out that as he reveals that he's chained to the floor. But I get the reckoning that you still don't trust me yet. It's like, no, not someone with that advanced technology. And not with someone who is not willing to let us into the information of his vessel. Well, Special Agent Coleman, if you don't mind me calling you that, I have my reasons, and quite frankly, I don't remember all of them. So, and the yellow sun is impressive. We don't have one like it on my planet. At least I don't remember it being yellow. Was it a different color? Nah. Maybe a bit more orange. Maybe red even. I can't. Like I said, I can't quite remember. But I do remember a nice, pretty sky. Something that I know for a fact you've never seen. Fair enough. We'll be landing soon, and you're going to be moved from a military base to another science facility. Yeah, well, thank you for at least hearing my request for asylum. The science facility will treat you with respect, and you will be getting the best meal of your days. But I don't know, about letting you out in public. Well, I don't know what is going to be planned for you, Jack, but just plan for a life there. Oh, I will. And I'll prove to you that I'm not a threat. We shall see, said Coleman, as he actually managed to go back up to the pilot's deck and to the pilot station. And the plane begins landing. After the plane lands, they unload a few samples and whatnot, and Jack watches salesman, take samples and his computers and hard drives, boxes and crates full of them into this facility, as he was escorted by no more than, I would say, probably like 10 or 12 soldiers, 2 in front, 1 in back, and 5 on each side. Well, 1 in front, 1 in back, and 5 on each side, left and right, surrounding him, but with Special Agent Coleman leading him in. They led Jack straight into a room where where there's medical instruments and stuff that they can check him over with, check his vitals. They begin trying to check him for his heart rate, his BP, his blood, blood pressure, BP, blood pressure, pulse, and everything, and they were not able to get a beat. It's almost like his skin was rock hard. They begin recording it and sending it straight to Special Agent Coleman, who has actually found himself in more of a familiar setting with the sun shining and not an alien vessel. Meanwhile, he receives a call, and it's 4 people sitting in darkness, faces unrevealed, three male voices, 1 female voice. Coleman, now that we've given you a facility with more advanced technology and everything, turns out that we still cannot see what's inside of him. That is correct. Needles will not pierce his skin, no matter what they try. They've tried an MRI, registers that there's a big giant mass there. They can't get a pulse. Our blood pressure machines will not work. Everything that we use to medically treat ourselves cannot be used on him. What the hell is he? Well, quite frankly, sir, he's a humanoid alien. And if I had my way about it, maybe he should have just stayed in the ice. Maybe we should have forgotten what we found there, because we don't know. We probably opened up Pandora's box. What about Salesman? I've lost contact with Salesman. Remember, he's under new contract. Only you guys have direct contact with Salesman. I'm not even allowed to know about his research. So, you guys will have to contact him on his own. That is correct. Well, we figured that you may have had some more information before we start playing conference calls with a bunch of people and phone tag, basically. He should answer right away unless he's in middle of deep research. So, what do you guys want me to do with this specimen? Well, he's been asked for asylum. He's requested it. We've given it to him. I guess begin integration. You're kidding. Sir, do I look like I care what you think? Do I care? Do I look like I care about anything you say right now, Special Agent Coleman? Right now, we don't know how strong he is, what kind of powers he has, if any at all, other than the fact that we cannot potentially kill him. That he could probably withstand a missile attack right to his face, and the only thing that'll be hurt is the environment around him. We have no idea if his power is in its weakest form or not. So I think it's best as a diplomat, sir, because you're not one, you are a guardsman. You watch, you inform, you educate. That's what you do. And then when necessary, you eliminate. So, Special Agent Carl Coleman, you will be his chaperone. You will integrate him into human society. If he has no bacteria, if there's nothing else that we can see, foretell, I think Crescent City will be a nice home for him. What will he do about finances? Well, once you have him fully integrated, he will be given a small size apartment, but that's all on to him once he knows more of our world. Fair enough, sir. Special Agent Coleman, you are now being moved to strictly integration duty. You'll assimilate him into our society, and if he follows our laws, then we have no reason to keep him any longer under watch and key. Other than when something appears to happen, and we'll see how he turns out naturally when not being threatened. Let's face it, you're not the most diplomatic person. That's why you are not on the committee. And suddenly the call was cut short and ended. We're going to take a nice pause right there because we've been playing this for about an hour and a half. Give me about 5 or 10 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, and we have returned. I don't think that was quite 10 minutes. I think it was 120. Well, I'm 3 minutes short, so it was 7 minutes. All right, so we're gonna we've been playing for almost 2 hours straight. So this solo play. So we are gonna we haven't really had the need to do any rolls. So real quick, we're actually going to finish up this, and I think we're gonna stop, and then I will probably make for another session. Or as we like to say in the comic book world, I know everything is issues, so this will probably end the first issue of the story, but we will continue real quick. So, Special Agent Coleman has actually sent out a couple of his agents to gather hot style clothing, stuff that and measure Jack's size to get him in regular civilian clothing. He's actually gotten some civilian clothing himself, where he's in a Hawaiian shirt and some shorts and some sandals. Jack, however, has found himself in some blue jeans, a hoodie, and some tennis shoes. The hoodie is unzippable, so he's able to actually put it around his waist when he's a little too hot, as that it is kind of like around, the summertime in California. And they begin walking the streets. And Jack goes, "So, I noticed we left the compound." "Yes. And you're not allowed to say anything to any of these people about who you are, where you come from. I'm going to integrate you into our society. As you can see, we go up to the crosswalk. You see the stop signs. Have you ever driven a vehicle before? Do you have vehicles on your world?" Well, define vehicle. I wasn't a pilot, or a helmsman, so I never piloted a ship. So I guess no. "Great. We're gonna have to get you your driver's license." Yeah, true. Driver's license. So, what is that? It's a little thing that's plastic, and Carl pulls out his driver's license, says it's like this. "And this gives you a license to operate a vehicle that takes you from one destination to another?" "Yes." How do you use it?" "Well, you just leave it in your wallet." "And what is a wallet? I take you guys have... what do you guys use for currency on your world?" "Currency?" "Oh, like stuff to buy stuff with." I don't remember, to be honest. I actually don't remember that. Wow. So, one of my scientists said that when we started breaking into the cryostasis tube, that you were telling the truth about that the nanites damaged your long-term memory and possibly parts of your brain, makes you forget about your world as a defense mechanism. Did they prove my statement true? Actually, I don't even think they know how to prove it true, so we don't really have any grounds to say you're lying to us, to be honest. That's why we're showing you our planet. Okay. Humans are not as barbaric as they seem. Well, you did see us over the last... when did you took an orientation class on us at your university? You said because you were preparing for a mission 2,000 years ago. We are definitely far more evolved than you guys would have imagined. I mean, but then again, you've been asleep for 2,000 years, so... True. 2,000 Earth years. That's crazy. So, I bet you... How does, so from other planets, does time work the same? Oh, no. Years and time passes differently per planet. Actually, it's kind of scary to think about it. But 2,000 Earth years is not 2,000 years on my planet. If I remember correctly, it said that my planet was 28 years per. Like, our planet had 28 years for one Earth year, if I remember my class. And you don't remember the name of your planet? Not quite. I remember that, like mathematical equations, but that's because it was probably easier to destroy memory, like math equations and computer data. I think it pretty much exists the same everywhere else, just numbers, or what you perceive as numbers. So that wasn't essential data. And telling you that my planet's revolutionary cycle is 28 years for one of your Earth years is not, is not relevant, pertinent data. So, essentially, with that being said, my planet has went through 56,000 years already. Wow. Yep. So my planet is 56,000 years older. I'm not sure whatever has become of my people. If they're even still out there, or if they're even searching for me. Or if they've even given up the search. I'm lost. And I don't even know where it is. So, Carl Coleman, if you think about it, invading you would not be the smart thing, because even if I was successful, how long will one person like me stand up against an entire world like yours? Carl began contemplating that thought for a minute, that he is just one person in the vastness of an entire planet, and that regardless what powers he has, it's not like they wouldn't be able to stop him or throw enough at him to where he couldn't be stopped. Definitely raises a few questions of how strong his people really were if he was to try and take over. But then at the same time, all they've really proven is that they can't, their instruments don't work on them. Doesn't mean they can't shoot them or hurt them with other means. Carl took him to a restaurant where he had his first cheeseburger. So, what is this thing called? It's called a cheeseburger. It's made from a cow. Oh. Do you guys have food on your planet? I'm assuming you eat like us. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I just don't know what we ate. But this cheeseburger is made from a cow. Like the cheese and all. Well, the cheese is made from pasteurizing milk, and that comes from a cow. That's dairy. And the lettuce is vegetables. We grow that from seeds. The beef, the meat, that's from a cow. Interesting. Yeah, so. Huh, okay. And what are these things? Oh, those are French fries. They're made from potatoes, which is also, grows from the ground. Ah, so it's a vegetable. Okay, so it's good for you, right? Vegetables are good. And what is this red sauce stuff? That's ketchup. Artificially created, so-called, some of it's from tomatoes, but the thickness, flavor is artificially created. Interesting. French fries. Cheeseburger. Ketchup. And okay, so what is this? That is a window, Jack. Oh, does it shield you from something? The elements outside, so that way bugs don't get inside here. And also rainy weather and stuff like that. Do you have rain where you come from? Oh, I believe we have a form of it, from what I remember. And people work and prepare food for people to make money, which you call currency, in exchange for living. Yep, that's pretty much how life goes. Welcome to Earth. Huh, very strange customs. Well, I mean, from when I studied, seemed like you guys didn't even develop that far, other than, I mean, you had people who worked for you, but forcefully. Yeah, that's a term we try not to use anymore. We don't like that. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so what do you guys do for, Mr. Coleman, or Agent Coleman? No, you can call me Mr. Coleman. When we're out here, we try to be undercover, so don't talk too loud. Okay. What do you do for entertainment? Well, do you like movies? What's a movie? I'm going to take you to the movies. Okay. Whatever that is. So they spent the entire day traveling throughout the city, parts of Crescent City, the business district, where they ate cheeseburgers and french fries and actually saw a movie. The movie they saw, though, however... Someone quick, give me a movie. They watched, you know what? They watched, a remake of Beverly Hills Cops. Silence of the Lambs. Okay, yeah, that would not be the... Okay, and they watched a remake of Silence of the Lambs in 2025. And then Carl took him, and he's like, so, Silence of the Lambs, and you called that a remake? Yes. Okay. And Beverly Hills Cops, that was also, you called it a remake. What is a remake? Well, they're actually movies that was made from a movie that already previously existed, but they redid some of the story to, fit whatever it is that they're trying to show. Okay. And the movies they come from they're called classics. Okay, classics. Okay, and this is entertainment for you? I don't see the... I mean, Silence of the Lambs, I thought it would be a movie about slaughtering lambs. Or what you call lambs. Yeah, the title is really more psychopathic than anything. I don't think horror was best to show you. Horror, like scary stuff. Yeah, don't you guys like have scary stories to tell, like ghosts and boogeymen and stuff? Boogeymen. There was a story about a boogeyman on my planet, but I don't remember that one. But I do remember that there was something that frightened children at night. Your planet definitely seems strange, but then again, you don't remember most of it, so... And Beverly Hills Cops, that was a action-adventure comedy? So it's supposed to be funny? Yes, I didn't find it funny. I saw... I don't know. I saw it quite confusing. Mr. Carl Coleman, I gotta say, your world is definitely alien to me, as my world would be alien to you. Definitely. And then all of a sudden all they hear is someone screaming for help. Help! Help! And it's like, what is that? Okay, Jack, I think someone needs help. Let me, do you know how to call, so Carl pulls out his cell phone and says, do you know how to call 911? And he's like, I don't even know how to operate this device. Let's just go see who it is. It's like, I don't think that's a good idea, Jack. And I'm like, we'll be fine. And they actually end up in a back alley where there are 3 people. It looks like there are, and we're gonna pull this up here, and there are 3 men looking like they are grabbing at a lady and taking her purse. And they are laughing about it. All right, yeah, let's grab that purse. So like, well, she's got money. Luckily, they did watch Release of Alien. Jack may have gotten offended. That is true. That is true. So Carl begins trying to stop Jack, and Jack's like, no, we gotta help that person, right? I mean, don't you have crime on your planet? Doesn't crime get justified? And it's like, excuse me. And everyone's like, who the hell are you? And I'm like, my name's Jack. I'm new here. And I think that lady or person or human. How many genders do you guys have? Dude, I think you got a screw loose, dude, if you think you're going to be coming down in here and telling us what to do. What are you, some form of cop? It's like, cop. No, unfortunately, I am not law enforcement where I come from. Oh, okay, not law enforcement. Okay, well, dude, you can, I tell you what you can do. You can turn around the other way. We won't have to, hurt you. We're going to do whatever we want to this lady, but you're going to get yourself killed. Killed, meaning cease to exist. Meaning you're going to stop my heart. Well, yeah, that's the idea. All right. What's confusing? What's got you confused? Well, the fact that if you even got the capabilities of doing that or not. I mean, there's only 3 of you, yes, and 1 of me. And I don't have any friends. Jack thought about a minute about telling them about Carl, who remained at the end of the alleyway, but did not want to alert because he is supposed to be what they call undercover. It's just me and you guys, so I think that it would be best that you guys just do what I say, and nobody has to get hurt. Okay? Nobody. We could, you could just go your direction, and you don't have to get hurt at all. Okay. All right. All right. Well, why don't you hold her for a minute while I teach this guy a lesson. He think you're gonna come down here and be Mr. Hero, right? Hero. Well, I've never really served, actually. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a hero per se. Are you guys heroes? Like, or maybe I'm confused, but I'm no hero. You're about to be a dead one regardless. And you know what they say, heroes do die. Yeah, I don't recommend this at all. If you must, let the lady go, and we'll continue on our way, and nobody has to get hurt. The only one getting hurt around here is going to be you, dude. I'm going to teach you a lesson. And we're going to roll for initiative. And I lost the initiative, so they won. So this dude is going to strike at me first. With his fist. Alright. And so, oh boy. Okay, so I think I succeeded. I did, actually. So the guy who holds up his fist, he's like, you ready for this? And whoo, he went and struck, and Jack moved out of the way. He's like, well, I mean, I guess so. Did you want to try that again? What the hell? Yeah, why don't you try that again? I'll give you a free hit. Really? Okay. And then he goes and strikes it with his other one, and Jack dodges it. He's like, huh, you think you're Mr. Quick, don't you? No, not at all. I just literally don't really see the reason of us doing this. So, but if you want to try again, what do they say here on Earth? 3rd time's a charm? And he goes and swings, and misses again as Jack moves to the side. He's like, very basic technique. Very basic technique. My turn, by the way. Ooh, okay. All right. So as he's like, dude, you're gonna put up your fists, and I actually succeeded by only 1 degree of success. Oh boy, yeah. So nothing too spectacular. All right. So succeeded by 1 success. Jack goes and punches the guy right in the chest, and literally feels a sharp pain in his left fist, and he's like, got a question. Did that hurt at all? Possibly, but all comes with the territory of being what I am. And the guy immediately pulls out a knife. And begins firing, only to miss Jack. He's like, what the hell? Yeah, I'm a little quicker than you would think, but not as strong as you would think either, it seems. And so he goes and strikes the guy, but the guy manages to move his fist around and flips Jack right onto the ground. Okay, alright. Alright. This guy can actually got some fighting skills. Hey, I'm not a soldier. Not a soldier. Just a guy who, by sheer chance, knows how to fight. It's like, really? You know how to fight? Yes, I know how to fight. And suddenly he stabs Jack right in the... Oh, let me roll a D8. Oh, for God's sake. Can't get my D8s out. Wow, I'm pulling out every single dice that is a different dice, but a D8. Oh, finally, I got a D8. Damn it. Okay, however, Jack has a special power. Now I get to roll the power rank. And see how much that absorbs. Let's see here. It's only going to absorb 1. Alright. And the DC I have to beat is an 11. So, and I got 4 ranks in it. Oh, wow. And I failed. So it didn't absorb anything. So Jack took 2 points of damage right to his right leg. The guy stabs Jack right in the right leg, and he's like, oh, okay. That hurt. As he moves away. He's like, Mr. Hero, not so tough after all, huh? Over a little freaking knife. Let's see. And as he goes and strikes Jack again, Jack actually manages to parry his actual punch out of the way using a deflective technique with his hands. It's like, you can still move. Yeah? Just a little bit. And then all of a sudden, sirens begin going off. And they're like, oh man, the cops are coming. I don't think we can take them all. Probably not. This isn't over. Hey, just drop the girl. Let's go, 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 go. And they drop her purse, they drop the girl, and they leave. And they actually drop the knife. And he's like, as Jack goes down to the ground, the lady goes over him. Thank you so much for saving my life. I was like, no problem. I just thought those guys, you know what? I think I might be suffering some from shock, and Jack immediately passes out. And his vision goes black as he sees the lady hovering over him, and Carl comes up right next to him and says, Jack, we're going to get you out of here, okay? I already called for a cleanup crew. And suddenly Jack passes out and wakes up in his bed. I'm like, okay. He's like, okay, I'm awake. My leg. Easy there, big guy. Special Agent Coleman. Did I save the lady? Yeah, you probably don't remember that, do you? I'm like, I remember passing out and losing a lot of blood and saying, I think you're safe, but I thought that all that was a dream. No, it wasn't a dream, Jack. You did actually go after a gang member who clearly was stronger than you. Turns out that really sharp knives can pierce your skin, because he got you pretty deep in your right leg. And you're not healing quickly at all, so... Yeah, that would appear to be the situation, wouldn't it? Looks like it. Well, that sucks. Guess I'm not as powerful as ever. No, it would appear not. I did send the report into my superiors. We've deemed you not a threat. So, as soon as we get you back on your feet, and I teach you a few of the ways, which will take probably next few years, looks like you and I are going to be best friends. Friend. What is a friend? Well, you know, they're a person who knows someone and has a mutual bond, or, you know, someone who you like and you look at as a friend. Huh. Okay. Friend. I don't think we have that term on my world, so I don't know what it means, but I like the sound of that, and I love Earth. Other than I got stabbed in the leg with a sharp blade of some kind. Yes, that's called a knife. Knife. Weapon that you guys use. I think the nanites put that in my brain. Definitely seems like it. Meanwhile, we cut to a scene where Salesman is talking to the committee. So, Salesman, you've had a couple days since you arrived. Have you figured anything out about the nanites, the nanotechnology that his planet uses? Well, yes, I have. And you'll be happy to know that it's very much advanced to our own technology. However, I think I can just begin reverse engineering it. That won't be no need, Salesman. We just need you to discover if it's possible or not. Can you send the blueprints to Grave Enterprises? Grave Enterprises? The CEO is Wilson Graves, isn't it? Yes, and he's actually in robotics. Nanotechnology would actually probably further his field a little bit of study, and he has a few military contracts. We definitely would like this to not get it to everyone. Alright, so the nanotechnology is being moved to military standings, and my payment is... Your payment's already been distributed to your bank account per the contract, as well as an additional payment for leaving your name off of it. Salesman, thank you so much for your help on this. I hope that Mr. Coleman, Special Agent Coleman, and Jack don't get in your way. Oh, I don't think they will. I think they're preoccupied with integration and a simulation like you guys wanted them to. From what our understanding, we actually received a report from Special Agent Coleman that the specimen, codenamed Jack, was stabbed. Really? Any damage done to the knife? No, the knife is completely intact, but it was able to pierce his skin. So it looks like his skin is not as tough as it may be. Therefore, we deemed him not a threat to national security or to anyone for that matter. We can easily eliminate him if he becomes... well, if he was here for invasion. Good to know. Meanwhile, his technology will be reverse engineered for our own personal needs and to further the technology of Earth and what we want funded publicly versus what we don't want and what we want funded for ourselves. Thank you, Professor Salzman. You will be a valuable tool. well, I don't like the term tool, but thank you for the millions of dollars, and I'm rich off my ass. And the call ended, and suddenly the screen goes black. To be continued. Well, that's everything for now. Let's see. What if the metal of the blade was made from a metal with similar properties that it makes up jack ship? It's a very good possibility. Very good possibility that could come in at a later time. The only reason why I say that like that is because technically I failed that roll. I actually failed that roll by 1. If I actually did succeed, the blade would not have done that much damage. It would have basically just scraped him. Basically, a superhero can take up to 16, like any character in this game, the way I understand it, can take up to 16 points of damage before they're considered incapacitated. So, and he only took 2. So, yeah, he has a cut on his leg, but he'll be back on his feet at some point. So, other than that, this was actually a fun try to, I think I pretty much got the use of Mutants Mastermind down. It is actually pretty easy to integrate. So I kind of actually am kind of enjoying it. So, yeah. Hell, if, honestly, it would probably be easy to also generate a HP mechanic if we ever wanted to, just to go, well, if we don't want it all to be the same for each person, could do that. But, yeah. But it doesn't look like it'll be that difficult. And actually, to be able to actually run and understand how it works, I actually have a better understanding now. So, that is pretty good. Let's check a few things real quick before we leave here. Because I'm going to go get me some dinner. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay. Well, no new subscribers yet. So, for those who tuned in, thank you guys all for tuning in. And if you guys are here for your first time, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to gain up to 500 subscribers before too long. And for those who have, have already subscribed, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And I want to wish everyone a great and wonderful day. And remember to work hard, play hard, game hard. Game on, everybody. Have a great and wonderful day. And we will be back probably, there will be more coming at you later on this week.